these purchase orders are all purchase orders that we have received. On the facing page, there are 4 stock cards. These 4 stock cards represent purchases of appliances or televisions that we've received that we're going to keep track of from the moment we received them to the moment we sold them. Okay? And so what we've got to do is we've got to assign them a number. Now, we could use the serial number from them, but serial numbers get so unwieldy with being long digits and characters and so forth that we prefer to just assign our own unique number. And we'll just start, I think here we started with stock number 1000 and went to 1001, 1002, 1003. Each time we got something in, we assigned it a number and we stuck that number someplace to that item in the event that we needed to find it again. Let me give you an example, because you might think, well, refrigerator, I mean, come on. Of course you'll be able to find refrigerators, right? Of course you'll be able to find televisions. If you got a lot of them, you might not notice that they're gone, or you might lose track of them. I'll give you an example of what happened here a few years ago. We were buying a copy machine. We had 3 copy machines in my office just trying to test the different ones to see which one was quieter, did the best job, and so forth. They were provided by the salespeople. Each day, those salespeople were calling us up and asking us if we'd made a decision. Well, after about a week of testing them, we made a decision, negotiated the price with the salesman from that company, and the salesman from one of the other companies called us that day, and we told him, you know, we've decided on another one, and he came and picked it up. The third one, we didn't hear from. We unplugged it and just sat it there and left it, and, well, didn't call. Didn't call. After about a month here in our offices of sharing that machine, sharing space with that machine, we finally called the copy company and said, hey, we've got you. First of all, we asked, is Tim there? They said, Tim no longer works for us. Just coincidentally, about the same time that we had made the decision, Tim had left the company. And he never, I guess, told anybody we had that machine. Now, at that point, could I have just said, thank you very much, and hung up? And we're talking an $8,000 to $10,000 machine, so it's not an inexpensive thing in there. No? Well, we told them a story, and they came and picked it up that same day. But someone could have abused that, couldn't they? Okay? And so, now hopefully over time they would have figured out. I don't know. I assume that they had a stock number on it. But if they didn't, you can lose control of these things. So, anyway, that's why we assign a stock number for our more expensive merchandise, and we're actually going to track it from the beginning to the end. Now, the date received is going to be the date that we're going to put at the top of our journal. So let's go ahead and enter the date received in up there. Yes, questions?
What's the difference between the inventory stock and the purchase order? I mean, where is this merchandise coming from that's not coming through on a purchase order?
Okay, the question's very good. What's the difference between a purchase order and a stock card? Could there have been a purchase order behind this? Yeah, there could have. The reason why you're looking at stock cards is because there's information on the stock cards that the purchase order wouldn't have known, like the serial number and stock number. But when we ordered that, I think the first one's a refrigerator, when we ordered that refrigerator from the company, we might have written a purchase order at that time for it and just written one almond-colored refrigerator, this model, this amount.
But it wouldn't have been recorded if we hadn't received it.
That's right. It would not have been recorded because we didn't receive it. Once we received it, first thing we did is create a stock card for it. And it has a serial number and other things. So we're going to record off the stock card as opposed to the purchase order. Let's go ahead and enter in this first purchase order. The date, August 12th. Then we're going to go across. Now, we're not going to put a due date in here because if you'll notice, we floored this. What does it mean to floor it? The bank's paid for it. Okay? The bank paid it. When do we owe the bank back? When we sell it. Do we know when that's going to be? Clearly not. So we're going to leave the due date blank. Let's move across to another column, stock number column. This is stock number 1000. And then we've got the serial number listed on the stock card. And so we're going to put that down, XYZ 2200. Now, the reason why we do this is because if we ever lose this stock card and need to recreate it, we can recreate it off of this journal, can't we? Okay, so it's just good cross-referencing for us. And who do we owe? These 30, 60, 90-day accounts, or are they flooring? Flooring. So we owe $500 that we are going to credit to flooring payable. No purchase order number. We've put the stock number in instead. And so we go to the payable to column. And who do we owe this money to? General Credit Company, not Cold as Us. Cold as Us has already been paid. And now we owe General Credit Company. So let's write that in. General Credit Co. By the way, if you'd like to abbreviate, feel free to do that. Okay, now what did we get? Appliance inventory. So on the right-hand side of this journal, we have to keep track of anything we floored. The question is this mainly used for flooring? Yes. But it could be used even if we paid cash for it because we want to keep track of this inventory. Now, if we went down to our supplier and just wrote a check for this refrigerator, just wrote a check for $500, picked up the refrigerator and brought it back, did not floor it, which journal would we be entering this transaction into? Would we be putting it in the purchase journal?
No.
Why not? It's not a purchase on credit. We'd be putting it in the journal with the checks. So this is only for purchases on credit, and when we buy refrigerators on credit, it's because we floored it. Okay, go ahead and record the remaining 3 stock cards and then stop. Now, recognize that stock card number 1001 is also for an appliance. Stock number 1002 is a television, and so is 1003. So those are going to go to a different inventory account. Record those 3 in there.
Enter the information from the inventory stock cards on page 1.9 into the purchase journal. If you need help, the answers are on pages 8.4 and 8.5 in the appendix.